This is a 2026 Chevy Silverado 2500 ZR2. And this just might be the best off-road HD in the segment. I borrowed it from Seiner Chevrolet here in Salt Lake City. Be sure to ask for Larry. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker so you guys can see the options and features on this build. At the very top is the description with the colors. And then here's a short listing of the standard features. Be sure to pause to see more. Now base price comes in at $72,800. And then starting off the options is the diesel with the sunroof and fifth wheel prep. Also has Cypress Gray for $395. Destination is now $25.95 for a total price of $87,320. Now I did a video on a red hot AEV edition ZR2 and I discussed the price increase, so be sure to go check that video out because I don't remember now. But regardless of that, I didn't talk about the colors in that video. So we do have some new colors. Now the one you cannot get with the ZR2 is the polar white tri-coat. That pretty much replaced the iridescent pearl. However, for this one, you can get the white sands. Now I've done some videos on the GMC side of the house on that color, and yeah, I can't wait to see it on the Chevy. It's a little too light for me, but it's something different. It did replace the slate gray, which I'm really happy by because that was one of the best colors on the truck and they took it away. So all the people who bought the 25s and 24s got a specialty color. Now Cypress Gray though is an absolute stunner. I think that this with that graystone interior is like perfect. Now you guys can see the sequential turn signals, projector style LED headlights, reflective style LED fog lights. You also have the camera on the front end with the sprayer to clean it off, red recovery hooks. You have the front parking sensors, and I do like the black contrast too. The bumpers, grille, it really flows together. Even around this hood scoop here, they have that black accent as well, and it says Chevrolet right there. You can see some of the graphics on the headlights too. And then they don't remove the front air dam for the ZR2, but on the AT4X they do. It's kind of interesting. Now you guys see here, Multimatic DSSV, so they use spool valves versus the deflective disc. There is an oil reservoir built in. Now this is not an active suspension, so you can't adjust it, unfortunately. You guys see independent suspension, double wishbone, fabric material for the liner, which is easy to spray out. And then here are the tires. These are the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs, 305, 70, 18. It's going to be an LT tire. It's going to have basically 3,750 pounds of capacity at 65 PSI. Now, here's something to consider. These are 34.8 inches tall and 12 inches wide. So they are slightly taller compared to a 35 by 12.5 tire, which is kind of interesting. Now they're pretty aggressive. I have these tires. I think you can get about maybe 40 to 50,000 miles out of them. I have gone off-road a good bit with my truck too, so my tires are a little bit eaten up too, so that might be another issue. They do provide a ZR2 badge on the wheels too, and I like this wheel design too. It goes really well with the blackout on the truck. Now this one doesn't have running boards. My wife would definitely want running boards. The ones I would get are the high clearance steps. Really keeps the price down. They do widen the fender flares and they shorten the mud flaps front and rear. You guys see the lights on the front of the mirrors. I do have them on. More cameras. And you guys see all the badging too, right? You can get all this blacked out if you like. Blind spot alerts right there. Black door handles, smart key system just for the front doors. Largest standard bed in the segment, and because this doesn't have the AEV edition, you have the steps front and rear. You lose the one because of the bumper for the AEV edition. 36-gallon fuel tank, 7-gallon DEF. And because it's a 3/4 ton, you have just the 5 leafs, no overloads on this truck. More Multimatic, liner, and you can really see how wide this fender flare is compared to the regular Silverado HDs. More black bumpers, full LED tail lights. You also have the multi-pro or multi-flex tailgate. Multi-pro is GMC. Class 5 hitch. Camera provisions are right here. And look at that. Matching wheel and tire. You have a 342 rear with the diesel, electronic locker. Wax coating, by the way, on that frame too. Did I mention the parking sensors? And you can see those tail lights too, by the way. The light here shines down for your receiver hitch. And if you push both of the buttons together, it will drop this down into a step. 400 watts of power, bed lights. Check out the description below. I do have a promo code for Juggernaut. You have these straps that you can build into the bed. It looks like they come from the factory. I strongly recommend them. I've used mine a couple times now, and I highly recommend them for sure. You can get it for all 4 corners, and you can tie things down very securely. 4 and 7 pin for that 5th wheel prep package. And notice that this is slightly behind the axle. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but you can tell it is slightly behind the axle because it's not centered with the wheel well right there. 2 cameras, one for bed view, one for the rear view mirror. Defrost with power glass. And then there's that sunroof. And then here's a nice side view. I forgot to show you guys the skid plate, so let's show that really quickly and then I'll pop the hood. Here's that front skid plate right there. And they only give you a small one for the transfer case, but it does give you more protection versus like a Z71 package truck. I gotta point something out to you guys. You guys see right there? That coolant looks kind of low. I've seen it higher than that. Now obviously, you know, the truck is cold, so I mean maybe that has something to do with it, but it is above the line for the minimum. But I would recommend, if I were buying this truck, to go ahead and fill up the coolant a little bit more at the dealership, you know, before you took delivery. Just something to consider. But 6.6 liter Duramax has 470 horsepower, up from the 445 that the Gen 1 L5P had, and 975 pound-feet of torque, up from 910 pound-feet of torque. Now where you feel that power at the most is pretty much like in that 60 to 75 mile an hour range. Like right there is where this truck does show its updates. Like it has a new turbocharger, has a 10 blade versus the 11 blade. Combustion was updated as well. But overall, it's a really good engine for pulling. If you have a camper or something like that, this truck is easily going to pull, you know, a 10,000 pound camper. But always remember, you have to discuss payload when you talk about 5th wheels and travel trailers. Now this truck does have decent payload, which you'll see here in a second. But one thing I want to point out is your sensors. I always recommend you do the relocate for these two. These are your map sensors, which is manifold absolute pressure. I like to talk about this because when I pulled mine out of my truck, they were completely pitted with like that soot. And it took me 30 minutes to clean them. Now you're not supposed to scrub those sensors because you could damage them. So if you have the relocate kit from Banks, promo code down below, you can basically scrub those clean, and that way you don't have to damage those sensors, so they'll last a lot longer. So I think personally it's a nice upgrade. Let's go ahead and check out the interior. One of the things I like about the ZR2 is the interior. They do allow these trucks to have a different interior design compared to the regular Silverado HDs, and I like that because if someone's looking to maybe step over to this truck, you get a different interior design. I like that GM does that. Now these seats do have better bowstring, perforated leather. They are heated and ventilated as well. Tilt and telescoping steering wheel. Here's all your buttons for your four-wheel drive system, drive modes, tow hauls there, lighting, electronic parking brake, and then you have your buttons for that heads-up display. They do give it a black headliner too, and it goes really well with the interior. Now back over to the door, look at the graphics for this. I call this like a vinyl material, and I like the overall design of the trimming here too. A little bit of black chrome, and you can see that gray stone with the lime stitching. You have your auto up and down, auto down only, and then you have your tow mode, power fold for their mirrors, Bose sound system, 10-way driver seat and passenger seat, by the way. Let's go ahead and check out the passenger side while we're at it. As I mentioned, 10-way seat. And here's another look at these seats too. You see that graphic that was on the door is actually here too. And here's the dash, all soft touch. And in case you care to see that sticker, you can carry up to 2,291 pounds for a bed camper for this truck. Here are the floor mats, engine block heater plug. I like that GM gives you an actual plug for this too. I really like this. Let's go ahead and check out the rear. You guys see the seat back pockets, grab handles, outboard heated seat buttons are right there with USBs and air vents, cup holders right there, 60/40 bench, storage. Yeah, this is a really nice truck. I do enjoy reviewing these because they don't always keep these in stock. They're really hard to come by sometimes. Sometimes I might see maybe 4 of them a year at a dealership. Not a lot of them. Let's go ahead and jump back over to the driver's seat. There's your animations. And right here, this screen, 13.4 inch display, fully customizable. If I had to pick a truck for the most easy to use infotainment, GM is always going to win this battle. They have the absolute best when it comes down to just sheer ease of use. Like, I feel like they think about things a little bit better compared to the competitors. And yeah, I just like all the camera views they have. I like that this menu stays up for you, and everything is just laid out nicely. You guys see all the buttons. If you want to just use that rear locker, you have the button there, downhill assist, single stage exhaust brake, you have lane keep assist alert, so it's going to vibrate the seat, not turn the steering wheel. And then this is how you turn off your park assist. I wish they had 2 buttons for this, because if you're towing a trailer, you can just turn off the rear but keep the front ones on. You can drop the tailgate, caution light, traction control, and then this allows you to drop down all the windows together. Here are the buttons here for heated and ventilated seats, dual climate controls right there, trailer brake, open storage. Some people like the open storage better than the covers too. Wireless charger, all your power, and just at top here you see your home link controls for your rear sliding glass and sunroof, LED lights, vanity, and here's your heads-up display. Hopefully you guys can see right there. I'm gonna show you some of the information. So this is for your adaptive cruise control. Now you do lose the compass if you don't pay for the navigation, which I think is silly, GM. And then this is your off-road page right there. I always keep it on the off-road page. I like that page the best. You could also customize the information you see here. They do lack more temperature gauges though, with actual numbers personally. This screen, fully customizable. You can move things around on there. And settings. You can set up things inside of your vehicle. You can turn off the rear seat reminder, buckle to drive, and you have other features here, like for example, comfort and convenience. So if you want, you can actually do the remote mirror folding by turning that on. If you lock it, it folds the mirrors for you. Seating position can be updated too. So seat entry memory and for exit as well. If you want to remove things out of this menu, maybe you want to put your Apple CarPlay right there, you can do that. This menu has nice information too. And for your trailering, you can see your tire pressure if you have the trailer tire pressure monitoring installed on your trailer. They're not expensive if you're buying your truck from the factory. So if you're building it, always build it with that option. And then you have that analog clock there. You guys see the temperature and time. That's pretty much everything I wanted to show you guys. I always forget to show you the drive modes because there's nothing really to see. So you only have normal and then off-road, and then you have tow haul. So you basically have 3 basically. But let's go ahead and check out the payload on the door. Starting with the axle ratings, out front 5,600 pounds, the rear is 6,600 pounds. Gross vehicle rating is 11,350, 18 by 9 wide wheels, and an all-in payload is actually 3,041 pounds. But keep in mind, this truck doesn't have running boards. That probably would put you just under 3,000 with those. And then conventional towing is 18.5, gooseneck is 18.1, and you guys see the curb weight. This truck is not lightweight. It's 8,309 pounds on the curb. And then your gross combined is 27.5. And then here's that yellow sticker showing you the tire pressure, 55 PSI all the way around. Hope you guys liked the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. I enjoy doing these videos, so support the content. Later.